My first movie, of course, with Deepika was debuting in that movie, so I did that movie.
Yes.
Did my first advertisement with Priyanka Chopra, which was for a telecom company. In many ways, a lot of people did not know what Maersk was in Bangalore. We're not a port city. The people have not seen the containers as much in
Kerala or Vizag?
Yeah, Kerala or Vizag, they would be more familiar with the Maersk containers. I still remember the first call I had with one of the candidates, and he said, the fertilizer company. So it was, it was basically, I knew that we had to build a brand first before we start hiring. So my belief is that in the past, talent was about muscle power. In present, talent is about brain power. And in the future, talent's all going to be about the heart. I just feel that one is JD doesn't explain enough about the job. It's written by AI, and resume doesn't do justice either, because resume is also written by AI
yes.
to match the JD.
Yes.
It gives me a lot more inspiration to see somebody like you who's on my team to do so much more than just recruiting and being here. And of course, this is an entrepreneurial venture of yours. So all the best, and looking forward to many, many more episodes.
Thank you so much.
Hi.
Hi.
Welcome back once again. It's a noble time, my podcast. And guess what? Who is here? Any guesses? We have a wonderful guest, Gautam Shetty. Welcome to the show, Gautam.
Thank you, Richa.
How are you today?
It's a pleasure being here, and I'm doing great. Looking forward to talking to you.
Great. And thank you so much for coming. And I want to know, how was your journey till now?
Great. So let me talk a little bit about my journey. Of course, slightly different from a lot of others. I began with being in front of the camera like I am today. Did a couple of movies, did a few series before I started actually getting into the corporate space. But it was more fluke because I was studying also back then. So I did my first movie, of course, with Deepika was debuting in that movie, so I did that movie. Did my first advertisement with Priyanka Chopra, so which was for a telecom company. So yeah, those were a few highlights, and of course many more during the period. But of course I was studying back then, so I of course wanted to pursue HR, so I was doing my masters in HR as well. So that's something I was doing. But I think from there I joined a company. It's tough because you're used to the limelight, so you want to continue doing that. You're on the front page of newspapers and stuff like that, and cut from there, you're now trying to get a job for yourself. And the first company that gave me a job was Mafa Management Consultants. Right now taken over by a company called Randstad. So I worked at Mafa Management Consultants for almost 2.5 years, where my job was to actually hire, for HSBC, which had set up their data center in Bangalore. Yeah, so that was my first job, and of course, while I was doing that, there were other projects which I was also working on from the consultancy. I was working part-time in Accenture, and then also got the opportunity to work with a company called Target, which was just setting up back then. Of course, now it's a very well-known name.
Yes, I know Target, yes.
Yeah. So I think I started off as a contractor with Target, and at one point they decided to hire me on board, right? So with Target, almost 10 years with Target.
That's a long journey.
That's a long journey, but lots of learning, and from being just a recruiter, I kind of understood what it means to hire CXOs, directors, so I became a leadership recruiter, and then from there also kind of got to do some specific team management, right?
Okay.
So that was my initial, a kickstart from in terms of being a leader. Was an assistant manager, then slowly grew into being a manager, and of course, by the time I left Target, was a senior manager, managing all of technology. When I got an opportunity with the company which was then setting in called JCPenney. So I was one of the initial team members that JCPenney had hired to set up in Bangalore, and JCPenney was bringing in their GCC into Bangalore.
Okay.
Right. So I think there was a lot of work that I had to do. Not I think I know for a matter of fact that I had to do a lot of work to set up that GCC from scratch. So it was a great challenge, and it was end-to-end recruitment, unlike at Target, because I was at Target just one of the managers. In JCPenney, I had to manage all of talent acquisitions. That's immense.
Along with your team, of course.
I had to build a team because I was the initial team member who was hired. So I had to build a team as I joined JCPenney. And of course, we built a team. I was there with them for almost 650 hires and almost for 2 years when I got the opportunity at Maersk. And I grabbed the opportunity at Maersk. One is because it was setting shop again in India. Not in India, but in Bangalore. So they wanted to build a technology hub in Bangalore.
Yes.
So I started hiring for, of course, it was the same journey that I had in JCPenney, because I had to really build from scratch.
The
entire team.
Content and the team.
Content, team. And in many ways, a lot of people did not know what Maersk was in Bangalore. We are not a port city. People have not seen the containers as much in
Kerala or Vizag.
Yeah, Kerala or Vizag. They would be more familiar with the Maersk container. So they'd not seen it. I still remember the first call I had with one of the candidates, and he said, the fertilizer company. So it was it was basically, I knew that we had to build a brand first before we start hiring.
Yes.
And of course, we initially started off hiring for the technology units.
Yes.
And of course, our USP for building a technology unit, because we're a shipping company, so people would wonder why we're building a technology unit.
For that,
So of course, my USP was to say that if you come to Maersk, you'll be getting to do end-to-end technology, versus if you go to another technology firm, you'll just do some incremental work.
So it was like you can say selling the product at a scratch.
From scratch. So basically making sure the brand is built, people understand what Maersk does in Bangalore, and then also selling technology. And
now we are global.
Now we're global. We're almost 4,000 people in the technology division. So that's, and of course, Maersk also, I've had, different opportunities. First was the technology unit, and then it became the GSC in multiple countries. Today it's, in between it was APAC. Now it's IMEA. That's India, Middle East, Africa. So all of that. So it's given me great opportunities, not just to be a leader in India, but a leader globally.
Gautam Shetty, AP Moller Maersk.
Congratulations, Gautam. Clearly a huge fanfare here. Congratulations.
So, Gautam, how was the shift of your, having a movie with Deepika at your start, and then ad with Priyanka, and then coming to, altogether different industry, different role. Of course, you did a fantastic work working from scratch and taking it to a global level. It's international now. So did any point of time did you feel that a stardom is hitting and giving a shift to you?
Well, I'll first clarify that I didn't become a star, so it wasn't stardom really.
Okay.
But it was definitely like, I in my mind had thought of a corporate career always. This happened by fluke, and it was good money when you're just in your teens and just coming out of it. It was great money. But what I realized when I got out of it is people don't take you seriously. right?
Okay.
They think you'll probably smitten by that industry and you want to go back and you want to continue doing that because people don't want to take you seriously after that. So the first job was a little hard sell for me. I'm really happy that Mafo gave me that opportunity. But yeah, for finding a job then, people don't take you seriously as much,
Okay.
right? And people kept making fun even when in the initial days they kept saying, "So are you going to go back?" and stuff like that. So yeah.
Okay. So, what was the wholesome mantra for you to keep moving ahead and doing things? And like till now, what was your mantra?
I think focus on your goal and perseverance. So I wanted to be in the corporate. I wanted to do a HR job. I wanted to, in many ways, I feel that, what we do in talent acquisition is a very noble job, right? Trying to find people jobs, make sure that they have great careers. In many ways, also kind of, it impacts their household and stuff like that. So I think I find purpose in that.
Okay.
Right, so that's why I thought I should pursue this job, and I never want to move out of it because I really see a purpose of doing talent acquisition.
So it's a go-to scenario always for you.
Yeah.
So, Gautam, as you mentioned that you started from the scratch to global, okay. So, how do you balance the hiring policy when it comes to local hiring, to the global hiring? Of course, keeping the company values at one place. So, how do you balance all these things?
So one, I think we're all living in a world of hyper personalization, right? We're every candidate has a different ask, and it's important to adhere to these asks,
Yes.
right? We will not do something out of the world and create disparity.
Yeah.
But I think there is a need for us to also make sure that people are comfortable in the way they're working,
Yes.
right? When I say that there are global policies, you adhere to global policies and legislations. It's very important. So processes are made so that we adhere to those legislations.
Okay.
But also think of local EVPs, right? Local employee value propositions. And within the employee value propositions also, make sure that, in an era that we are in, there is a lot of personalization with candidates.
Okay.
Like, I don't want to typecast, Gen Z or Gen X or all of that, but they say if you're talking to a Gen X,
Yes.
you should, or a Gen Z, you should talk about purpose and stuff like that. I believe that the core truth is everybody is human. So
Okay.
there's always going to be, stuff around respect, being heard, being valued, which is the most important part
Yes.
that we need to give every candidate. But
Yes.
what's also very important is that you understand some of the nitty-gritties and the environment of how the candidate has to work, and then adhere to those as well. So that's something I would.
So, do you feel that the same proportion of being heard, respect, the equal proportion of advantages given to the local hiring and the global hiring? Because I feel and I've seen there's a shift. There's a little bit of shift. So, how would you like to say about
See, there are
this?
policies and processes which have to be followed from a global standpoint as well.
Okay.
It's not that everybody goes on to do their own thing. That's going rogue. But while you stay within those frameworks, I think you should look at personalization. You should look at localization. I think that's going to be very important. Like even in India, I just feel how uh, um, uh, tech organization works versus how outsourced organization works is very, very different.
Very different, yes.
So I think you need to adjust and make small changes accordingly within the organization as well.
So, what do you feel? What could be the changes? Like, if we want to change the thought or the little bit imbalance which has happened. I'm not saying it is everywhere. So what do you want to give the audience that okay, these things which we can do and which we can balance?
See, so I'll give you one example, right? Like, I just feel Gen Z kids, I won't call them kids, they're now in the workforce already, so I
Yes.
won't call them kids anymore. But
It would be unfair to
the-
call them
yeah,
kids.
yeah. So Gen Z, they've grown up in a certain way. They've seen multiple screens. They want to multitask. They want to do coding, but they also want to listen to music, or they want to play games while they're, because that's what is
Yes.
the stimulus for their work. So having multiple screens for them is okay. Like, those are the nuances which you will change for them.
But are we really doing this? Because I have never seen.
I think some companies are, and some companies will take time. We're
Okay.
in the curve of making those changes, right?
Okay.
It's for companies to understand and make those changes. Like, we're in the journey.
So, Gautam, your journey is more completely into talent acquisition, HR, and with the introduction of AI, which is, of course, the hot topic nowadays, and there are layoffs happening around. If we will talk mostly about the talent acquisition, so there is a statement going around that layoffs are happening of HR, so we don't need, because AI is doing most of the work. Do we really need human HRs now in the organization? What are your views on it?
Great question. So, this is my belief, and I'll talk to you a little bit about that, and
Yes.
then we'll get to companies laying off people and what the future looks like, right? So, my belief is that in the past, talent was about muscle power, right? In the current day, in present, talent is about brain power, and in the future, talent's also all going to be about the heart.
Okay.
So if you have your heart in the right place, you're here to stay, right? So no AI is going to replace what's uniquely human. It's never going to replace connect. It's never going to replace courage. It's never going to replace empathy, right? So
Yes.
if you have all of that, you're never going to be replaced. So what's uniquely human is never going to be replaced. And as human resources, or as people function, I think where you need to develop is your human skills.
Okay.
If you have the human skills, you're here to stay, and that's going to be prime in the future, especially in a world where everything is about AI, ML. Everything more rudimentary, repetitive, is all going to be done by AI, ML, and that's the place where you will get replaced. Like, for example, I also feel that the entire talent acquisition space has evolved in so many years. Like, when I started off, literally would sit in office, wait for snail mails, open an envelope to get resumes,
Oh,
right?
really?
Yeah, so I've seen that, and then I've seen people circle on newspaper job adverts
Yes, I
and
have
say,
seen that,
this
yes.
this is where I want to work. And that newspaper also had 24 pages of just advertisements on jobs, right? So, and then after that came a generation of applying through the portals like Naukri and a Monster, and post that came more passive hiring from like LinkedIn, and now we're also talking about things like GitHub and
Yes.
all of those, right? I also feel that entire function is going to go away with AIML, right? You're not going to have to source anymore. You probably will have an agentic AI which will help you source the right.
It is happening, actually.
It is happening,
It is
absolutely.
happening,
There
yes.
are companies which are publishing white papers on
Yes.
it. Agentic AI which will help you source the right candidate, and after that is where your job starts, because in many ways that's where human intervention will start. You will have to understand the candidate. You will have to understand the person's skills. You will have to understand. So what you're going to spend time on in the future is more human skills,
Okay.
and that's going to stay. What is going to go away with AI ML is what's going to be rudimentary, what's going to be a lot more administrative. So I think what we need to concentrate on and what we need to kind of develop is the human skills, and that's something which is the future for all HR professionals.
Okay. So when you talk about developing your human skills, so in any example or any addition like which you can mention that, when our viewers and listeners, are listening, they can work on it, because if somebody is looking for a job or on a verge of losing job, okay, so they can work on it. So any addition from your end?
I think what people need to really develop on, I don't know if it's just learning, but it's also very, you need to introspect to understand yourself better and figure out where you want to develop, right? Like, so I feel you need to kind of develop on skills like empathy, put yourself in the shoes of others. How do you network? Right?
Okay.
How do you influence without authority in many ways? Like, you might not have a position,
Yes.
but you need to influence without authority. So
Okay.
all of that is something you will learn over time. You will learn through practice. You will learn through. So those are the skills that you will have to practice day in and day out. It doesn't have to be necessarily a school that you go to, but you can probably practice it at home or with your friends or with in a scenario where you're doing your day-to-day jobs,
Yeah,
right? So
okay.
yeah, that's what I think people need to develop.
So there are layoffs still happening because of this automation and the human touch is not required. Why it is happening? What are the things which is missing? I mean, like, people can say that, we have the empathy, we are having a human touch, human connection, from one person to another. Still, this layoffs are happening.
I don't think so. I think layoffs are happening where jobs are a lot more redundant.
Okay.
Right? And those jobs are redundant because they're very administrative. People are not being let go of if they don't think those jobs. Like, even in talent acquisition, I feel we don't need recruiters anymore. We need talent acquisition partners. And what I mean by talent acquisition partners is to understand how your business is running, preempt what kind of talent you need for it, proactively pipeline for that talent, understand a little bit of what the future skills are, proactively pipeline for future skills.
Okay.
That's the level of talent acquisition that we have to look at, and not look at just sitting and sourcing reactively to roles.
So you mean to say it's just going out of the box, out of the window, and doing something extra, and thinking on a broader scale and then delivering?
It's not just thinking out of the box, but it's more like being proactive about and understanding your business, right? That's quintessential at this point in time, understanding your business and partnering with the business. So I'm thinking that recruitment as a terminology is going to go out of the window, and talent acquisition partners is the new terminology that is going to come. It's like, HR business partners in the past. Now
Yes.
it's going to be talent acquisition business partners, because you need to understand your business really well.
So, Gautam, like you explained about the automation and the human touch, the human interaction will be always required, even though the AI will come. So, for a sourcer perspective, I want to understand if a sourcer is suppose not getting job, okay, and the AI is into the picture. So, do you think if a sourcer will learn the AI and how to use AI to do the sourcing, will it be beneficial, or again the talent acquisition, the human touch interaction is required there as well?
So I'll tell you, especially because we're talking about sources, and it's a very touchy topic at this point in time, because nothing is in black and white.
Yes.
I know there are white papers which are coming out in the market about how people are going to use agentic AI instead of, I think I'll tell you a little bit. Today, I think we have a problem of plenty. Right? It's not just about learning AI, but it's I think there are other ways of getting a job. Today we have a problem of plenty, because one job gets almost 2,500 applicants.
Yes.
And as recruiters or sourcers, we're not able to get the best talent out of that 2,500. We're probably looking at the first page and saying, okay, we'll process the first 10 candidates and then we choose out of them, right?
Yes.
And that doesn't mean that we're getting the best candidate out of the pool.
Yes.
So what human skills will do it. And while we get to that, I also feel very passionate about this topic of resume versus JD, because people say, oh, this is the right resume and this is the for this JD. I just feel that one is JD doesn't explain enough about the job. It's written by AI, and resume doesn't do justice either, because resume is also written by AI
yes.
to match the JD.
Yes.
I think where we need human touch is to identify skills of candidates, right? It should be skill assessment of candidates, and people shouldn't be rejecting candidates on basis of looking at a resume.
Okay.
So I think where human intervention comes in is not just looking at the resume, identifying what the skills are, but also engaging in the top 5 candidates that you've identified. Because everybody is now going to go after the top 5 candidates. Everybody will want to kind of hire those top 5 candidates into their companies. Where human touch gets even more important is where you're able to do a lot more in terms of negotiation with the candidate, where you're able to sell the job better to the candidate, where you're able to connect with the candidate. And that's super, super important, because you need to connect with your candidate better to be able to, identify what he or she wants to do and identify what the goal of the company is. Right? You marry the both, and that's the best candidate you have. So I think what you have to concentrate on is giving every candidate the right experience, and that's where human skills are important, and that's when you will become a good talent partner. And I feel sourcing is going to get a lot, is already like with like agentic AI, and I'm sure it has biases today, but eventually we'll get over it. You will use it for doing all of this, identifying what are the top 5 candidates for you. Recruiters will be doing, or talent acquisition partners will be doing, is spending time with their candidates, spending time understanding businesses, spending time looking at what the future of talent is. Sourcing is going to be a lot more administrative, so it is going to be taken over by AI.
Okay, so what is the next stop for the sourcers? Because this has been taken care.
Becoming talent partners, understanding the business, having great negotiation skills, having conversations, connecting with people.
The basic understanding the need of the person, not only the resumes.
It's not going to be about pushing papers anymore.
Okay.
Right?
It's not only about resume and just looking your education, your hobbies, and having the resumes aside.
It's conversation is going to be very, very important.
Knowing every profile, or at least on a personal and professional levels. What are your views on attrition, which is happening? The attrition from across all the levels.
Yeah, I think sometimes attrition is great and sometimes it's not. And this is what I strongly believe. Sometimes attrition is great because you get new blood into the organization, which also helps the organization innovate better and get different insights. So sometimes attrition is great. Sometimes attrition is not so great because you have somebody who's probably done a project who you really value in the organization, and you might have to let go of that person, and the person might be joining your competitor for all you know.
Yes.
So that's also when you don't like attrition too much. But attrition is something that happens in every organization. Sometimes it's great and sometimes not so great. So, yeah.
If attrition is happening, so what is the the measures taken by HR for the retention? How strong is the retention policy? Are we really making policy just for policy, or are we really following it? Does it come from the HR that this person will attrite or get retained, or is it a leadership or choice? Is this choice given to leadership that you can go back and retain your employees, a good employee? I'm not saying that all employees are good or bad, but based on the experience and the skill, is the choice given to leadership? So there are two questions. From the HR perspective and from the leadership perspective, is it a choice or a decision?
Neither. I think Attrition happens because maybe we're not able to give the right opportunities to some of our team members, and that's why they want to attract. Or maybe it's a personal thing. It could be anything at this point in time, right?
Okay.
But I think attrition is not a decision made by HR or made by leaders. It's the choice of the incumbent or the team member, whether they want to attract or whether they want to stay back in the organization. What HR and leadership can do is, of course, combined, they can craft a way to develop somebody. They can craft a way to kind of retain somebody by taking the right measures.
Okay.
Right? And that could be different for different people. Maybe for somebody it's about the money, maybe somebody it's about the learning. It could be different for different people. So I don't think so attrition specifically is anything to do with HR or with management, but there's a lot of work that HR and management can do to retain the right person, and it's a combined effort.
Okay. So what is the one thing which you remember in your journey where you handled a retention case and you could, didn't let that person leave the organization? Do you remember any scenario from your journey or from any perspective?
Okay. I won't take names, but I think every leader has gone through that journey of having somebody who's about to try it on their team or has different plans. I think as a leader, I'd like to concentrate more on how I can help the person, especially if it's a great resource on the team, help the person get to the goal that the person's having.
Okay.
Right? It could be joining a different team for the right kind of experience, right? It could be learning something new. It could be doing a certain project. It could be promotion. It could be anything like that, right? So I think there are different ones. So I've had team members who wanted to kind of explore opportunities in different countries, and then I've definitely partnered with them, sat through not sat through mock interviews, but helped them attend mock interviews with me to be able to answer the right question and mentor them towards getting that role, right? So that's the way I've helped people on the team.
That's a great effort. For the first time I'm hearing a great leader who is helping his team member having the mock interviews and getting him or her move to the next ladder. So it's a great thing, and I hope and I'm pretty much sure that when our audience and the listeners, viewers will listen to this, of course they will have a shift of their mindset and will get motivated. So it was great having you on show, Gautam. So you won't believe this is like a dream come true having you on the show. So I still remember when I called you and you agreed on a one call that yes, let's do it. So we really want strong leaders like you who always keeps us motivated and supports us to do our passion, the dream. This podcast was always my dream, as I had mentioned with you with lots of our conversations in past. And thank you so much for being a part of my journey. And I just want to know how was your experience being here at the Noble?
Great. I think great experience being at the Noble, and of course, great questions. I'd definitely look forward to coming to the next podcast again. But what's more important is it gives me a lot more inspiration to see somebody like you who's on my team to do so much more than just recruiting and being here. And of course, this is an entrepreneurial venture of yours. So all the best, and looking forward to many more episodes.
Thank you so much. With your words, again, I feel motivated that there was a time when I was working with you. Now we are working together on this project of mine. So thank you so much once again. And of course, I would love to have more podcast episodes with you on different questions. Great. So stay tuned with me.
Absolutely.
And yes, to my viewers and audience, stay tuned. We will have one more show with Gautam very soon. Thank you so much.